Hey everybody, welcome back to Bleeding Cool's episode by episode recap review of YouTube Red's Cobra Kai, their continuation series of the Karate Kid film franchise 30 plus years later. As you can see, I'm rocking the whole LaRusso dojo move for this one. Let me mix it up a little bit every now and then just because, again, I don't want to show favoritism. We're going to be taking a look at the fourth episode of this season, which is Cobra Kai Never Dies. And again, not a lot to say beyond the fact that it really is continuing on and building up the stories nicely. When I go through my bullet points, there are going to be a couple things that I'm going to be talking about, but let me start off with a quick recap. I'm not going to cover all the spoilers because you've seen the episode already, or if you haven't seen it, again, just to give you a kind of taste of what's going on. We get our first real big introduction to Robby, running a really great computer scam. In the beginning, I give him credit. As scams go, it's actually a pretty good one. He ends up seeing the flyer for his dad reopening the Cobra Kai dojo, and there's just a great line where he just blatant out just says with disgust about seeing his father on that flyer. So again, great opening. We then cut to Daniel LaRusso. Daniel LaRusso is driving along, and yeah, it's very interesting because his wife has him on the phone, and she's asking him if he's seen the billboard yet, and he thinks that she's talking about the billboard for his rival Cole, which we're going to get to in a second, who's just raging D-bag right from the very start. But no, it turns out somebody just drew a very large penis and testicles on the billboard as if Daniel LaRusso was doing something to them in, I'm assuming, a pleasurable way. Is that probably the nicest way to put it? Because I think I have a picture of it somewhere on this post. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're going to have to go to the bleedingcool.com. Sorry if you want to see the picture. That's more that I can tell you in that regard. Let me get to Cole for a second, though. Cole is a crosstown rival. Daniel automatically suspects he had something to do with it just because Cole's also this D-bag who essentially stole Daniel LaRusso's ideas for his commercials where he talks about the karate and the bonsai tree and tries to portray himself as a real American, and they give out cactus, and that portraying Daniel LaRusso as essentially un-American and not caring about water shortages, and it's just a really, really scumbaggy thing that Cole does. You could understand why Daniel would suspect that that's pretty much what's going on. It would be no shock in any way, shape, or form. But what ends up happening later on is we find out from the billboard standpoint, his cousin and one of those guys from the auto dealership find some Cobra Kai flyers. We find some Cobra Kai flyers up there. In a second, I'm going to tell you what that's about. But there is a great scene with Cole where Daniel goes to confront Cole, thinking he was involved with Billboard, but also to talk to him about the ads and some other stuff. And Cole, of course, in typical big bad villain fashion, just tries to demean and belittle Daniel, and even mocking his karate and everything like that. And there's just that wonderful move where Daniel just kind of gives him a quick reminder about, hey, there's a reason why I'm a two-time All-Valley champ. And I just thought it was a fantastic scene. I was a really, really big fan of that. The reason why Johnny is suspecting some flyers we're finding up there is that we get to this point where Johnny is dealing with the aftermath of what happened to Miguel, having to bring Miguel home to his mother and having to get Miguel taken care of, and the fact that Carmen is just like, you are going to have nothing to do with my son anymore. And it starts a spiraling dynamic of Johnny yet again seeing himself as like, look, I'm this bad father, I'm just going to essentially keep going the cycle that my dad taught me and what I learned from my stepdad. And it's really, really heartbreaking. And in the beginning of the episode, we see him walking along drunk, and he sees a spray painter doing some graffiti on the street, and he offers to trade cans with him, spray can for beer can. And lo and behold, that ends up on the billboard with Cobra Kai flyers. Now, again, I think it seems like it's set up for a no, it wasn't me. If it ends up not being, I will say it really came across heavy-handed. So I gotta twist the episode a little bit on that. With Samantha and Kyler, what I thought was very, very, very surprising is that Samantha gets to see Kyler and his lackeys in action as they're bullying Dimitri, Eli, and Miguel. And you can see the disgust on her face. And it continues on after he and her are going to a movie, and he essentially tries to make some moves on her. She fights him off. He tries to get a little more pushy. And then Sam just essentially does some skills that just embarrasses him in public in the middle of that movie theater, and rightfully so, because Kyler continues to still be the chief big main D-bag in this show. Just got to put that out there. So that was really great to see. As we get towards the end of the episode, I think there's really a rough scene where Johnny goes to confront Robby, because Robby hasn't been at school and needs to get back at school, otherwise he's going to be held back. And Robby just goes after Johnny brutally, like, you're rolling in here, you're acting like you care, you're acting like you're concerned. 16 years, where were you? And really even comes after Johnny when Johnny tries to say stuff about his mom. So I thought that was really impactful. And then Johnny goes to find Mom, which he does. And again, I'm not saying she's Mom of the Year, but again, Mom also gives him a double barrel of like, look, where were you for 16 years? You know, where were you when he built his first half pipe and broke his wrist? You know, all of these things. So it was like, Johnny, you got to remember, just because you're starting up Cobra Kai in this dojo doesn't mean everything's going to be solved and everything's going to be great. But what I love is that it brings him and breaks him down to this understanding. And there's a scene where he sees, a father and son at a restaurant. And it's a scene that, again, you've seen before and can be seen very cliched. But this is where I give Zabka a lot of credit, because the pain and the need for a start over and a do-over, you can see in his face in that scene as he's watching them. And it translates into that moment between him and Carmen that I just think is just a very sweet moment where he's just putting it out there saying, look, please, I get it. I screwed up. This kid's believing in me. Please, I will not fail him again. And we get that sense. And it's the reason why we say Johnny gets serious. It's this idea of Johnny now realizes, I'm not doing this to get back at Daniel. Maybe that's clearly still part of it. But the other reason why I'm doing this too is because, again, now I have to be committed. I've got to be committed to helping this, not just Miguel, but to helping kids like Miguel. And I like that ending. The only thing that had me slightly concerned was the whole, the best defense is having even more offense. That's what my concern is, that Johnny takes that love and concern Miguel and translates it into old school Cobra Kai teachings, which is just feeds back into what Daniel's concerns were from the very start. So again, overall, I think a very quality episode. I'm very excited to see where the next one, Counterbalance, takes us, which will be our 5th episode, which we'll be reviewing tomorrow. But like I said, got a couple notes that I want to cover just because I thought they were very interesting. Again, the Robby has that sociopathic charm thing going on, I got to say. And I think we saw that whole bright and smile boy bandish thing, and then kind of does that whole I will rob your house blind thing. So I think it's got that very interesting dynamic moving forward. Daniel, I think, is very interesting, the fact that he in a lot of ways is going down a certain bad dad road because he clearly favors Samantha over Anthony. It's huge, and you'll blow the competition away. Look, you can't go wrong with an occasional dick joke, and I thought they were just two really good ones in the episode. The Carmen Rosa dynamic, and Rosa, by the way, the grandma, is becoming one of my favorites. And I know we can look at the cliche of the grandma who's wiser beyond her years, and or I shouldn't say that, who's wise to the modern things even though she's older. But again, I love the dynamic of Rosa, like, realizing, look, hey, Miguel needs this. He's getting some confidence. He just needs to practice a little more. And the idea of getting a good sense from, she's not saying Johnny's great or fantastic. She just has a good sense the guy came to Carmen earnestly with, heart on his sleeve, hat in hand. And I like that dynamic. But I like the way it's playing out between the two. I also like the transitioning between English and Spanish. That may be a little nitpicky thing, but I really do like that. I like the way that works. I think it makes it more natural for the family scenes between Carmen, Rosa, and Miguel. The canoe trip to Colorado, I'll give you credit, Robby. That was interesting. I don't know where the hell that would have possibly come from. I like the way the series so far is also addressing the aspects of viral bullying. It's still there. It is a common recurring theme, and I get a sense that it will be recurring, continuing on for the remaining episodes. But they're not after school special beating you over the head with it, but they're showing you the realities of it and the harshness of it and what effects and impact it can have on kids. And I really like and respect the series for going that direction. Coles, as much as I hate the dude, his 100 sausages long and thick was a pretty good practical joke, and hell, like I said, at least LaRusso's employees got to eat. You're not going to be getting the only way there's going to be dog poop up on that billboard is if it's from like Crypto or from Underdog. Otherwise, I'm sorry, you're going to have to be dealing with a little bit of human nature. And dude with really bad mustache, crystal meth, like white trash mustache, you don't get the right to call out Johnny for using boombox. And I wince a lot of the old references that Johnny makes. But yeah, if you're rocking that monster of a thing that's attacking your face, Johnny gets to use whatever 80 references he wants. I'm just saying, I don't think anybody's going to have a problem with that. Dimitri and Kyler's lackeys. I would say I'd like to not see them be such stereotype lackeys. They remind me, and I know it's going to sound like a weird reference, but in a lot of ways they remind me of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle lackeys. You know, the backups and Bebop and Rocksteady, like cliches. I think you can do a little bit more. It's just like Dimitri is just too unlikable he's just a maliciously weak geek who just doesn't really seem to have Miguel's back. So I got to say I'm not a really big fan. And as for Colors Lackeys, yeah, they remind me too much of the 80s movie, and that's not necessarily a good thing. She won't go down on you unless you get her dessert. That was a good line. That's a rough line, but that was a really good line. We all cheered and went nuts when Daniel kicked the drink out of Cole's hand. I'm sure I know I did. I had to pause it, and I was like, you know what? Let me rewind that back again, because look, let's be honest. We're all waiting for the whole Johnny Daniel fight, which again I have a feeling we're not going to get, and I'm trying to avoid spoilers since all the episodes are up. But yeah, I have a feeling that's not going to happen. But I have a feeling we're going to be getting 1 or 2 guest appearances before the end of the season. I'm not sure, but I think we might be. The Zabka Carmen scene, again, I can't express it enough. William Zabka, if he's not going to start getting roles and work and offer off of this, then Hollywood just isn't doing right. He's got a great backstory, just the fact it's been so many years, and again, he's playing the hell out of this role. Playing the hell out of it. The Kyler-Sam relationship being over. Wasn't expecting them to resolve that storyline so quickly, too. So again, I like this. I've been noticing with shows lately, they do this thing where series end storylines more logically than they should instead of stretching them out for the entire length. I thought this was going to be one of those situations where it was going to stretch to almost the end. But again, I think it's fitting. Sam's not stupid, and Sam's going to be able to pick up on things. And I like the fact that by this episode, Sam's like, no, you're a scumbag. You got nothing around with me. And again, the way her and Daniel came back around to each other, I just thought was really great. I had a lot of appreciation for that. The best defense is more offense. As I said, yeah, that's not a good sign. Not a good sign in any way, shape, or form. Because again, Johnny, he strikes me as one of those guys who's just going to be like, I can do some really good, and then just will do over the top, thinking he's doing good. So, but we will see. But that is our review. I don't know why I'm doing this. That was so corny. Apologize for that. But yeah, that's our review and our recap of episode 4, Cobra Kai Never Dies. Again, join us tomorrow for episode 5. I think there are 10 total episodes in the season. But we're going to be taking a look at Counterbalance, but I appreciate you guys checking these out. Also, make sure you check out Bleeding Cool at bleedingcool.com for all the great coverage we have of television, film, comic books, video games, collectibles, anything and everything under the pop culture sun. You can find it at bleedingcool.com, so I really appreciate it. But once again, this guy rocking the whole LaRusso dojo thing. My name is Ray Flook, television beat writer from Bleeding Cool. Thank you for joining me for a review recap of this episode, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And again, check out all the other episodes up on YouTube and on bleedingcool.com. Appreciate it. Take care, folks. Have a great Tuesday.